Dr. Sue Jen Jez and Gregory Lee. Come up and take, are there 4 chairs there for you? I'm going to just mention their names and titles, and as each one speaks, I'm going to tell a little bit more about them. So our first panelist will be Laura Choi, who is a Senior Research Associate with the Federal Reserve Bank in San Francisco, followed by Debbie Cochran from TICAS. We all know Debbie. You've been here before, and it's good to see you back again. Sujan Gatlin-Jez, who's from Sac State, right nearby, and Gregory Lieb from Terra Fossil. This is going to be a surprise and interesting presentation. Thank you very much. Commissioner Scott?
Just a comment. 0.1% of Americans own 22% of the wealth. We're talking about inheritance is a big factor in all of this. When you look at the 20 wealthiest people in the United States, there's a family named Walton, who about 3 or 4 of them are in that list. And it wasn't because they all were terribly adept at earning. They were terribly adept at having the right parents.
Thank you. All right. Now, our last speaker is actually doing something about this issue, and this is going to be very interesting. Gregory Lieb, Terra Fossil is a private label brand, wine, I can't say this, wine brand. Those are 4 words that can't be put together. Founded in New York, established by Gregory Lieb, who's here today. Greg had the vision to create a wine brand with dinosaur labeling that would appeal to all demographics. We all love dinosaurs. Greg has brought a private sector approach to the issue of student debt, donating money from each bottle sold to stomp out student debt. Greg will share with us the private sector motivation for tackling student debt. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's great listening to all the discussion. And it's a discussion that I have spent a lot of time on after creating a wine label using an iconic figure, the dinosaur. And it's not an easy industry to enter, the wine industry. There's about 300,000 different wine labels and wineries in the world. It's not just Italy and France like 50 years ago, but it's every nation has wine and sells wine, and it's an interesting industry. In order to get into that industry and sell your wine, you're going to have to differentiate. And so we created an iconic figure, the dinosaur, which is known and found that spent time in every place in the world. And it's been a interesting growth for us in that we've grown our company by social, in effect. And we now are able to create connections with people in the wine industry, whether it's the Gallo family, or whether it's the Constellation, or Fetzer, or all the other wine brands are looking at us. And the reason is we've been able to create the iconic image and sell wine. But about 2 years ago, a group that also started a very interesting wine label, Barefoot, Michael Houlihan and Bonnie Harvey, connected with us. And they had sold their brand to E.J. Gallo in 2005 and had non-competes after 5 years. And they were excited about our label, that our label is iconic, like the Barefoot label kind of started. They built their brand, though, in 1986. They started it by worthy cause. And their worthy causes were actually cleaning up the beaches, constantly cleaning up the beaches all over the U.S. And it grew their brand dramatically over the years. And when E.J. Gallo bought them, they were very happy to have a very, very powerful family to continue the causes. And now E.J. Gallo works with Barefoot, and there's over 200 causes that E.J. Gallo contributes to each year, and they're very, very highly focused on causes. What happened, though, was we wanted to create a brand that went after a cause that has a lot more power than even the beaches right now, and that is the student loan crisis. And it is a crisis. It's affecting everybody, but there isn't very much awareness. And awareness will only come now by growing the social image and growing the connection to everybody. And I think there will be a good chance to do that because social is growing so rapidly. If you think about what took place, I think 3 days ago by Alibaba, Alibaba sold $9 billion worth of merchandise on the net in 1 day. Amazon, it takes 3 months to sell $9 billion. It's an amazing number. And that's because they've connected through the internet with many places in the world. My thoughts are come up with solutions that the changes in economy can grow contributions for student loan debts. And I came up with 5 visions recently, and the U.S. economy has switched from manufacturing dramatically to consumer. And when you mention Walmart now sells 25%, does 25% of the retail revenues in the United States. The consumer is so powerful. How do we tap the consumer? How do we tap the cause? Well, what I'm thinking is everybody would like to give back to cause. Everybody would like to be buying a product possibly that if that product was for, mine was $9.89, and when you bought it, you knew that $2 was going to go into scholarship programs. If you had a platform built by people like the founder of PayPal, Peter Thiel, or the founders of eBay, Andy Rachleff, they can create that for us and put a platform that connects cause to the consumer because we all use our fingers to purchase more and more and more. And it's going to continue to grow. The landscape we're all seeing now out there is everything is for lease. There's retail space everywhere for lease. I don't think that's going to stop, even though our economies start booming, because the internet and the consumer now are being tied together to buy things. So how do we take all that and create something that every time you push that button, you can have a choice, and that choice will give you the option of putting money into a cause. Now, having a cause that affects everybody, and this student loan crisis will affect everybody. I believe the housing industry is going to go through a difficult time for 17 to 20 years because of the problem with generations saddled with student debt. I don't think there's any question about that. How do we create a solution that can give people hope and also produce cash for providing money for students? Now, what I thought was create a group of people, and I'm trying to, that have created great websites and great income from themselves, connect with them and build something, which I'm trying to work on, that's a platform that you can create a button that buys a product, and the purchase price of the product already has the contribution into it. And a lot of times it won't cost the consumer any more because that brand identity will help that company want to be part of the process. If you think of Patagonia, Patagonia was a company that was fully commercial for years, and now they're fully a benefit corporation in California. They've switched completely. They've switched because they knew the cause to themselves and for the public was as important, and they packaged that into their marketing. So my thought is create solutions that take advantage of what's taking place in the reality of today. People are buying things more and more because they want to have some type of ease of purchase, and the terms give back. The terms give back, it's more important for sure for the 1% and 2% in this country. They all want to give back. I focused on the wine industry because I do believe the wine industry, most of those people are so passionate. They love their occupations, but they are in the 1 to 2%. And they also know that they'd like to give back, and some of them do tremendous give back, but none of them are focusing on the student crisis. And that's where Bonnie Harvey and Michael Houlihan and I and Liz Thatch at Sonoma State came up with a interesting proposition, and we decided to create a strategy where we were going to work on having 3 stores, Oliver stores in Santa Rosa, have my wine in there, and see how it sold with a $2 give back. We outsold every single brand in that store, and those brands paid money to have shelf space. We did an exit poll, a video. The exit poll showed that people were very happy about buying a product that gave back. It just made sense to them. It made them connected. And it's something that you're going to have to do. We're going to have to raise a lot of money. And it's not going to be easy, but what's taking place is the social connection is growing dramatically on the web, and people are buying more and more products. And it will not take that much difficult programming to build products into it that have a connection to cause. So that was my first real vision. My second vision is something that I see on the whole landscape. There are 15, 20 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, lotteries got started in this country. Every state now has a lottery. Then what did we do? We've got casinos. Casinos everywhere. They're entertainment for the boomers, I guess, and young people. But the boomers go there because it's very low-cost occupation to entertain themselves and mingle with other people. It's wonderful, but that's probably even hitting a peak. How can we take that lottery and casino activity and do something that gives hope for young people that are saddled with large amounts of debt? We can do some type of reset project where you're able to create a lotto that helps a person in need. Whether it's $5,000 or $3,000 or $2,000, they can enter that and feel, well, you know, maybe. It's their own lottery for that student debt crisis. So that's just two. My third is you're going to create, it's the supplier and the retailer of products that have to get together in order to create. They have to have a little less margin, each one of them, in profitability. It won't affect them if their brand gets growing or the store gets identity from them helping a cause. So they both can put into that, and then I'm thinking, why not give that partnership some type of tax credit as well for making that effort? And you know, I think these things, they're realistic, but they're first steps. The other tax credits I was thinking about was we import so many products into this country, high-end products. Give the companies from other countries who are selling into our markets the opportunity to give back. And in effect, if they want to sell products in here and give back at the same time, give them some tax credits for doing that as well. And then my last kind of dream, it's almost like a Forrest Gump dream, is that I remember him walking or running around the whole country in that movie. We've got 50 capitals in this country. Every one of these states has the same problem. It's a difficult situation, but you're going to have advocacy. You know, I want to go to almost every capital and make a connection. And the connections will grow the thought that we have to attack this almost like it's a war. And I believe it is going to be a serious war that will make our country less economically successful or viable if we don't attack it. And I treat it like that as well. And there are producers of wine, there are retailers. In the last week, I've made connections with Save Mart, with Raleigh's, with Whole Foods, and they all understand what I'm trying to do. But to get into the shelf space, it's very difficult. But the distribution market in most products, almost all products, to get into a retail, you're going to have to be with a distributor that is very, very powerful. In the wine industry, for example, 5 distributors probably handle 85% of all the wine sold in this country. The Gallo family control 21% of all the wine sold in this family, this country. I'm actually making the plea to producers and to the retailers to get together and build packages that you can have products in there, and this is the product I want for student loans, so that they understand their customer might even come into the store. And what you're able to do with social today, which I'm doing, is create images and fans that will see that, and they will go to the store. In Oliver's, we had thousands of people that we created off of Twitter and Facebook through this message that went into the store and asked for the wine. And it can happen. And, you know, I'm kind of passionate on it, but it's little steps. And I'm reaching out to people that are very successful in these industries and trying to get them on board. And it's exciting for me, but it's more exciting that it'll put some hope out there for some of the kids that are saddled, and you know their dreams are completely gone when they come out of college and they owe $50,000-$60,000. They can't do the job they wanted, or that they have to be saddled with something that's very difficult. And I think we can put hope into their mindset.
All right, very interesting. And you're talking our kind of talk. We want to go to wine and go to war against student debt. They go together, I really do believe. And I like the terms give back, too. So I think you're onto something here. All right, so let's open it up for questions or comments. Commissioners? Commissioner? Okay. Sorry.
Thank you. As a student, I'm in debt, so I know all this is very relevant to me right now. A comment is, so you're trying to talk about getting companies involved. Maybe you can get some students at some of the colleges you've already talked to go and talk to the companies, because I know a lot of companies will respond better to a student rather than someone who's already gone through college.
Well, that's very good. We have 41 students from Sonoma State that did videos, created videos, and are all for it. We had about, at Wharton School, we've got about 12 students that are on the project as well. And what it is it's disruptive. It's disruptive marketing. Disruptive marketing is a new term using social that is getting very powerful. So we can go to UC Davis is my next one, and Sacramento State. I want to connect with them, build a program like I did at Wharton and Sonoma State, have students involved, and they will create the marketing. These kids know how to create videos today, and they loved it. They would create videos that were attack exactly what you're saying, and the students are where it's at. I agree.
Hey, Commissioner Conley?
Yes, where can we get your wine?
Right now at Oliver's, and we're speaking with I've got the top people at Save Mart, and a man's name is Bob Piscini, I don't pronounce it He's the owner, and Joyce Rowley Teal of Rowley's. Right now we're hopefully going to be in both of those stores if they like our wine.
Do you have a site on the internet?
Yeah, Terra Fossil.
Okay.
You can see it. And Stomp Out Student Loans is a fabulous new Facebook page. And if you go to either one of those, you're going to see a lot of activity.
Thank you. Commissioner Asarte.
Thank you for your time and all of your presentations. I feel like right now I'm a little bit on Shark Tank, trying to figure out.
Good.
And then I realized I forgot all the questions they typically ask, right? But in this context, I find your approach very noble, and how you picked dinosaurs or student loan debt forgiveness doesn't matter to me. I think it's an opportunity for us to be a beneficiary of your vision. And for a while now, we've been talking about how to raise additional resources to supplement, you know, the lack of funding for additional outreach or additional scholarships to reduce the amount of debt that students take on as they're pursuing their undergraduate or graduate careers. And I see this as an opportunity for us to kind of partner if and how it would work out. Those details could be discussed, you know, off the table. But I just want you to recognize that we've been thinking about how to mobilize different revenue streams as a means of generating additional resources for the long-term sustainability of the type of program that the state's currently funding, but adding to it. And you know, we talked about yesterday the fact that we're going to be celebrating our 60th year. The California Student Aid Commission will be next year, and there's so many folks that have gone through, and so many folks that are alumni of the Student Aid Commission, being beneficiaries of the grants. And those are the kinds of people that we can drive to say, look, if you can't donate $100 to the Student Aid Commission's foundation, quote unquote, then go buy a bottle of wine, and you could kick back a couple bucks that can help out another kid, another generation of students. And so I want you to know that we're listening to your ideas with open ears.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Graves? Commissioner Sawyer?
Thank you. So, and I'm going to include Commissioner Graves anyway, so thank you for passing it on. I too felt the Shark Tank in here, but I will say that the opportunity, Greg, and by the way, I love your first name. I will say that there are some other things that can be done, and I too, like Commissioner Conley, I would like to find out where that is in terms of where we can purchase. Shark Tank is not necessarily far off. I can tell you that I saw one of the shows, and I saw one of the individuals who was on the show, and so my wife and I ended up going down to Venice Beach and having things put on shoes, and my sister who has cancer, we ended up having our family actually put on her shoes. And so we ended up doing those kind of things. He did not win. He did not get the money, but he's banking. And so his wealth will now increase. And so I look at that, and I think that people, and not necessarily calling any name, but there are individuals, I am sure, that if you had that opportunity, there would be people nationally that would also pick this up very quickly. But I really commend you because I like what it is where you're going. It's such a noble cause, and instead of coming here with doom and gloom, you're actually providing a way for us to figure out how can we do some things to change the world in which we live. You know, Tom's Shoes has done very similar things, and I like that idea. But I wanted to go with Commissioner Grace real quickly, and that is that he's very much attached and has a very significant role in the California State Student Association. Mm-hmm. You're talking about 450,000 students, and then you start talking about the community colleges where we have 112 community colleges with well over 1 million students, and then you talk about the UCs, and then by the time you start looking at the number of students, 216 or 17,000, is that correct? Somewhere around there? You're talking about 2 million students that could support, and what an incredible lobbying interest that you would have just with those individuals alone. So I just wanted to make sure that you do have folks that could take it to a much larger level.
Well, I'm very thankful for that, and that's what it has to happen. It has to go to a larger level, and the university population, that started, but the parents of the university population, they're all drinkers, believe it. They drink wine, and they.
I believe that.
and that's a huge market. So it's almost doubles. So it's pretty exciting, but and I'm glad that I'll be speaking with both of you because it's a very difficult market to get into. The retailers in this country are very, very focused on not many distributors and not letting the outsiders in unless you have something that is fabulous. And I think I've got something that gets their attention, but the next step is even more important. The other thing I'm going to say is I've been told by a few people in the industry I've got to get a solid California producer with me. I've got a great Argentine wine, a great New Zealand wine, but I'm in California to build this, and I'm going to be for 4 months, the Gallows were thinking about partnering with us, and that isn't going to happen. But they still love us. It's not going to happen yet. But there are some tremendous producers of wine in this country, in California, that will get on board if people like you help us.
Well, I think you've identified two things that students and their parents have in common. They both want to get rid of student debt and drink more wine. So we're on something. Yes, Christopher Josie.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just wanted to ask, it looked like the average cost per bottle is about $10, and a dollar or two goes to Stomp Out student loans?
$2 out of a $9.89 price right now at Oliver's, and $2 of that goes to student loans.
So could you just talk about then what actually happens with the resources, those $2?
Right now it's going to a scholarship program that Sonoma State and Santa Rosa Junior are setting up. And it's full scholarships right now with that funds to choose people. But it's not a lot. But that's the concept that we want to bring on. We also want to bring it on, if it gets sizable enough, to reduce debt for other people. And that's why I'm even talking about the lotto thing. What will happen is, for the people that are over 21 or out of school that are saddled with debt, we can take funds from that $2 and let them enter a lottery where they can have a dream. Okay, $20,000 I could win, and it goes to pay off my debt.
So resources haven't been dispersed yet in terms of the loans to students or the grants to students at these two universities?
No, I think the Dean, Ray Johnson, the Dean of the Wine Institute at Sonoma, he's going to set it up in March.
Okay.
These are the first funds that are going to be going.
Do you have a sense of the scale of resources, or on average how much they'll be getting in terms?
Well, we're good. Out of that $2, I'd say 98%. I mean, we're not taking any of it right now because we have the brand, and we're setting up Stomp Out student loans besides the brand. But we've set it up so the retailer is going to have a profit. Terra Fossil will have a profit. Everybody will win-win. We want to create a win-win for the retailer, the producer, and the brand. And it can work because the price of wine, you can grow wine and it doesn't cost much. Let's say my Argentine wine, it's $2 a bottle, and it may be 80 cents to bring in. So let's say $3 to get in the country. So it's low enough that you can fit it in at a $9.89 price. California wine, it'll probably be $12.50 instead of Argentina, because it's more expensive.
Thank you. I guess what I'm trying to understand over time is approximately how many students you might imagine being served and at what scale of resource. Because, what I'm interested in, and I'm a new commissioner, but what I'm interested in is kind of the scale of policy around some of this. And so I'd just love to know, as you think about the potential profitability of this and the advantages to students, how many students could be served, at what scale of resources they might be helped, so that we could think about what might make for a reasonable contribution, or how the Student Aid Commission could be helpful to you as we think in terms of scale. And maybe there's not, but I'm just trying to understand.
What I see on scale is growing the social site, Stomp Out student loans, partnering with the California Student Aid Commission, so you could grow to millions of people that would then be able to be affected and can take action if they know about it to go to a store. See, it all has to be marketed and set up. Nobody knows right now.
Right, and I think for the students, if I were a student, which I was a very long time ago, but if I were a student, I'd want to know also, in addition to being able to drink great wine, what it might mean for me to actually consume this particular wine. What would I get from it? And I think that's the part that I'd love to be able to understand, is how students actually are going to be served by the resources that you're...
It's just, I don't really have those answers. You guys have the needs for that. I can just create the funds that hopefully will go to the better use. And my thinking is the better use is scholarship, advocacy, and helping people that are out of school that are sitting with lots of debt as well. I think all three have to be part of it.
Greg, I think it's fair to characterize your ideal here as in the launch phase. So it's really not fully developed yet, and we don't know just what kind of resources there may be there yet.
No, it hasn't. We actually
Really in the early stages.
Yeah, very early. April 26th was when we launched it in Oliver's with Sonoma State, and we sold it all the wine out. And now we're going to larger chains, and Rally's has 240 stores. Save Mart has 250 stores, and the largest private retailer in the country, in California, in the supermarket business. If we get into that, then you've got 400 stores, and it can grow. But it's a matter of, for the wine, that's a big
Well,
matter
this
of
certainly
getting
sounds like a great idea. I just want to say that Commissioner Josie's comment is relevant to down the road. I think a lot of people are going to be asking, well, okay, sounds great, but what does it really mean? So as you move forward and as you develop it, that's going to be coming up as a question. So if, for example, you come up to Sacramento, you want to get a tax credit or something, how much is there? How much is going into student loan, student grants or student scholarships or whatever? Well, we're out of time. Thank you again very much. Let's give a big hand to our panel.